For one final time this season from Lane Gymnasium, Lane Tech Girls Volleyball is on the air. The champions look to sweep the season series and advance to the city semifinals as they take on the Chicago Washington Patriots in Chicago Public League quarterfinal action here from Lane Gymnasium. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Alex Burstein above the midcourt line here at Lane Tech for what should be a fun one on this Monday night between Lane Tech and Washington. As we just mentioned, this is the second time this season the two teams will be facing off. In the first one, it was over at Washington. Lane Tech played very well in the first set, got a 25-14 win over Washington. But in the second set, the Patriots battled back, made it just a 2-point game, ended up a 25-23 set win for Lane Tech. But it's really going to depend tonight. If it is that first set team for Washington that comes out, that Lane Tech had a pretty easy time getting past, or if it's going to be that second set team for the Patriots who did a pretty good job of competing with this Lane Tech team, and whichever one of those teams shows up very well could determine who is playing in the semifinals on Wednesday at Little Village. As we take you down to the court here at Lane Gymnasium, just about 3 or so minutes to go until first serve here at Lane Tech. Lane Tech comes into tonight with an 18-14 matchup. Washington with a 10-9 record. So both these teams just slightly above 500 on the year. They've had their hot spots this season. They've had some cold spots as well. But we will see if they can keep their hot streaks going that they have had so far in the city playoffs. And speaking of city playoffs, we will take you through how Lane Tech and Washington have gotten to this point thus far. Starting off with the Washington Patriots, who are making an appearance in the quarterfinals after falling in the second round last year to Whitney Young. They opened up the city tournament with a nail-biter victory over Morgan Park, a lot closer than I expected, and I'm guessing a lot of people expected. That one ended up in a 25-23, 25-21 win for Washington in 2 sets, but it was pretty close. And then they had a much easier time in the second round, taking on Westinghouse, the Warriors. The Patriots won that one pretty handedly, 25-11, 25-14. So 4 sets played, 4 sets won by Washington so far this postseason, and they'll look to get set wins number 5 and 6 here on this Monday night. As for Lane Tech, they've had 2 very easy wins to start off this playoff run. They look to get back to the semifinals where they fell last year to the Jones Eagles in 2 sets. They won round 1 against Steinmetz 25-5, 25-12, and then in the second round took care of business against the Lincoln Park Lions team that was quite pesky in the second set. Lane Tech only won the second set by 25-20, but first set was one of the best sets I've seen Lane Tech play all season long. They won that one 25-6, and the skill of this Lane Tech team just too much for the Lions to handle as Lincoln Park dropped that one in 2 sets here to Lane Tech as we get just about a minute to go until national anthem and starting lineups here for Lane Tech and Washington. We have the starting lineups, but we're going to wait a second so we read those along with the public address announcer in just a second. 4 quarterfinal matches going on tonight across the city. 7 of those teams from the Chicago Public Super Conference, which both of these teams are a member of. The Taft Eagles, the one team who made it out of the red and into the quarterfinals. They'll be in the Super League next year. They won their conference, but an impressive run for Taft, beating Curie and Northside to get to the quarterfinals. So how those 4 matches will look tonight: Whitney Young taking on Von Steuben over at Young. Obviously, this matchup between Washington and Lane Tech, that's the left side of the bracket. And on the right side of the bracket, it will be Payton taking on Taft and Lindblom taking on Jones. So the 8 teams, those are left here in the Chicago Public League playoffs, and by the end of tonight, we will see who the 4 left standing are, as both the teams are going to head to their bench. I actually do not know where Lane Tech went. I assume they're having a last-minute huddle, and looks like they are, just in the little stairway from up where we're standing in the balcony and the court. So they're going to have a last-minute huddle as now they head to the bench. Washington's going to be wearing their blue jerseys outlined with red numbers and white lining for tonight's game. They'll be going from right to left on your screen when we get started. For Lane Tech, they'll be in their all-white uniforms going from left to right when we get things going. Still waiting to see if we're doing national anthem or not. It's been off and on throughout the season. Looks like we're just going to be a couple of minutes behind our official 5 o'clock first serve here at Lane Gymnasium, but luckily not getting started too late. This is actually the first time Lane Tech has started at 5 p.m. for a home game all season long. They've played behind the junior varsity team every single game because they like to do JV first and then varsity. However, JV, they're in the semifinals for the city playoffs. They play tomorrow at Prosser, I believe, so there's no JV game tonight, and instead varsity will get the 5 p.m. first serve. So that is why we have the earlier start for those of you wondering for tonight's contest. As looks like they're going to finally start the introductions here on the court. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Lane Gymnasium for Chicago Public League quarterfinal action between Washington and Lane Tech. Lane Tech's had a lot of success against this Washington team as of recent, since 2019, undefeated against this squad, including a win last year at home. That was the last home matchup as we turn to the national anthem, and we'll be back in a sec. So there you have it, national anthem here at the quarterfinals of the Chicago Public League playoffs, and just like that, it is time for some volleyball action. We'll see who we're sending to the Chicago Public League semifinals here on this Monday night, and with that, it is time to meet your starting lineups first for the visiting Chicago Washington Patriots, and they do have one player who is coming late, who does not look like they have made it here yet, who is going to be in their starting lineup, so we're missing one player, but we'll take you through the rest. It'll be Bianca Marquez. She's the starting libero. The junior gets the start tonight, and then the rest of the starting rotation, number 8, Jackie Taylor, a senior outside hitter. She's going to be getting here late. She doesn't get the official start, but she will be into the game when she does get here. The rest of the lineup, Crystal Lopez, the senior setter, wearing number 9. Olivia Stolars, the junior middle, wearing number 10. Ureli Correa, the junior outside hitter, wearing number 11. Laura Gomez, the senior middle, wearing number 12. And finally, Itzel Sanchez, the junior right side, wearing number 15. Head coach tonight for the Washington Patriots, Hector Patino, one of the assistants on this squad. Usually, however, head coach Emily Johnson out for, I'm not sure how long. She's on maternity leave, so she will not be coaching here tonight, and Patino will have head coaching role tonight. As for Lane Tech, a very normal starting 6 for them as they look to clinch their spot in the semis. In the front row, going from left to right, it'll be number 25, Amina Ahmad, number 16, Kinsey Copenhaver, and number 5, Claire Anderson on the right side. In the back row, going from left to right, number 22, Olivia Crane, number 12, Brooke Anderson, and to her right, number 10, Catherine Hong, will be your starting 3 in the back. The libero tonight for Lane Tech is going to be number 8, Sarah Thompson, as Lane Tech does have 2 scratches, we should mention. The more notable of the 2, one of the usual starters, that's going to be Heidi Stauber, not playing tonight with injury. She's resting up for what's hopefully a semifinal matchup for Lane Tech on Wednesday, so she will not play tonight. Sarah Thompson gets the libero role. Also out is going to be Josie Bietti, one of the juniors who we've seen play in the second set a couple of times this season. She will be a scratch for tonight's game, and Lane Tech, coached by Norman Kwong, who's looking to get back to the semifinals for the second time in his second season as head coach of this Lane Sac team, as they're just wrapping up the starting lineups on the court now, and then it will be time for some actual action here from Lane Gymnasium. Looks like we're looking at about a 5-10 first serve here from Lane Sac. For those of you just joining us, second matchup this season between Lane Sac and Washington. Lane Sac took the first one 2-0. It was a 25-14 first set win for Lane Sac. Second one a lot closer though, 25-23 Lane Sac won, but Washington did a very good job at coming back in that second set. So we'll see which of those Washington teams play here tonight as they try to get to the next round of the Public League playoffs. One thing we should note here, this is a very small Washington team, and I'm not even talking about size. Lane Tech does have the size advantage, but just looking at the sheer number of players on this squad, they obviously start 6 plus the libero, and they just have 10 players dressed here today. We expect one more, number 8, Jackie Taylor, to come into the game whenever she gets here to Lane Gymnasium, is what their head coach said. However, for the time being, only 10 players. They're just going to have 4 subs on the bench at any given time for Washington. Lane Sac with 15 rostered players, 2 scratches, so they will have 13 players, meaning they have, trying to do some quick math here, 7 players on the bench at all times. So Lane Sac does have that advantage in number of players, as both teams are going to head to the court, and we are just about ready for first serve here from Lane Gymnasium. Not sure who won the coin toss here. We went and talked to the coaches before that point, so I was not able to ask who won the toss, but we will see here in a second. Of the referees getting into their spots, as we mentioned, Lane Tech going from left to right across your screen here on this Monday evening. Washington will be going from right to left. Lane Tech, the 4 seed in these playoffs. Washington, the 5. So this is about this on paper should be the best matchup of the night. Two teams very close in seeding, as it would be an upset for Washington. However, not that much on paper, as there's going to be one sub in the game to start things off. That will be Bianca Marquez. She comes in for number 12, Laura Gomez. And on Lane Tech's side, Sarah Thompson is going to come in for Brooke Anderson. And looks like it'll be number 9, Crystal Lopez, serving to start things off, the captain for the Patriots. And we are underway here from Lane Gymnasium. First serve to the back row. Olivia Crame gets some hands on it. Some miscommunication here. Catherine Hong plays it to the back. Risky play there by Washington. Looked like it was going out of bounds, and the cross-court kill attempt no good there off the hands of Sanchez. And Lane Tech will go up early here, 1-0. And they'll send Catherine Hong back to serve. It'll be Hong, Anderson, Copenhaver, Stoner, Crane, and Thompson, the serving order for Lane Tech here in the first set. Serving's been one of the big points for Lane Tech in this postseason. They've had some very strong serving that's led them to 2 dominating victories early on, as Sanchez redeems herself. A nice hit there over the net, out of the reach of a couple of Lane Tech players. And Washington will tie this one up 1-1 here. So good start to the game here for the Patriots. They're going to hope to stay in this one early, as Ahmad gets her first kill of the night. Attempting the block there in the front row was Stolar. She got some hands on it, but just redirected almost straight across the court, and ends up going for a Lane Tech point, as we'll see Natasha Padilla check into the game for the first time tonight. Claire Anderson served down the line, just barely off. Looked from our angle like it hit the line. However, the referees will disagree, and Washington will tie this one up 2-2. And we predicted this may be a close one based on how that second set went in the first matchup between these two teams. And so far, 4 points in, we're all knotted up here at Lane Gymnasium. Crane just bumps this one over. See the first kill attempt of the night, and a booming shot. They say it goes a little too wide. That was Ureli Correa. She thought she had the point, and now they're going to say. So originally, it looked like the Patriots looked like they thought it was just a clean kill. The referees say it goes out of bounds, and then the secondary referee here says it was tipped by Lane Tech. So Washington gets their first lead of the night, 3-2. We'll see if they can build on it. Crane plays it to the middle. High bump at the net. An excellent jump there by Olivia Crane. She gets the block there almost immediately to tie this one up. And we'll see Brooke Anderson check into the game for the first time tonight. Kinsey Copenhaver back to serve. She's been one of the more solid servers this year for Lane Sack. Doesn't get as many aces as some of the other players, but she just is always good for a usually decently long serve run. As this one sent to the back row and finishing with the kill. Once again, Correa, who's showing she's a force to be reckoned with here. A couple of early points here for the junior outside hitter as Washington goes back up 4-3 here in set number 1. Small crowd on hand for this quarterfinal matchup as Sanchez sends this one too far to the inside, and she'll check out after that one as Alexandra Marquez checks into the game for the first time. A pair of sisters on this Washington squad. Number 1, Bianca Marquez, who we mentioned is a libero wearing that white jersey tonight for the Patriots. And then, as we mentioned, Alexandra Marquez, the senior defensive specialist. She checks in, and those two will be playing right next to each other in the back row as Addison Stoner sends her first serve of the night across the net. Crane from outside the plane area able to keep this one alive. 4-4 tie game, early set number 1. And Maddie Gavilan unable to save that. Dived in at the last moment trying to keep this point alive. And this is a role in a lot of the home games Lane Tech has played this year. It seems like they've been the one who's always either tied or up by 1. But this is the first time, one of the first times we've seen the tight matchup of Lane Tech struggling to get the lead. As Washington's been doing a good job of winning every other point, but hard to stop that. Brooke Anderson with her first kill of the night to tie this one up. Anderson had 4 kills against this Washington team in the first matchup of the year. She's coming off a 3-kill performance against the Lions last Thursday. And a big point to tie this one up at 5. Missed bump, and Anderson will get another kill. So after getting substituted into the game, 2 very quick points here for Brooke Anderson. One of the stronger front lines you are going to see in the public league right now. You have Campbell Wild and Brooke Anderson, who bring some excellent height and blocking ability to this team. And then Claire Anderson to their left, one of the top outside hitters on this Lane Sack team, as Wild will go cross court, unable to finish the kill there. 6-5, Lane Sack with their first lead in a little while. As Crane goes from the middle, and a lucky hit there goes off the hands of Alexandra Marquez. And Lane Tech goes up 2 for the first time tonight. So we'll see if they can take some momentum off of that. Olivia Crane had a quick serve there, was trying to catch this Washington team off balance, and won't be able to do it. Laura Gomez finishes with the cross-court kill to keep her team in this one. Checking back into the game, number 10, Olivia Stolars for this Washington squad, who has some really good energy early in this one. As we mentioned, they have less players on the bench, as Wild with an excellent spin around the net. Just got lucky there. Ball falls on the other side, and Lane Tech will go back up to 2. But as we mentioned, this is a much smaller Washington team than Lane Tech is, and they've done a good job sticking in this one and playing with energy. 14 points in to set number 1, as this one sent to the back row and finishing with the points, Olivia Stolars. So this has to be an area of concern if you're the Lane Tech coaching staff here. That back left-hand side of the court has just been pretty open. There's been a couple, at least 2 or 3 now, points from Washington. They've just sent it to that back row, not with super hard kills or anything, but there's just been no one there guarding it. And they finish with the points, as Lane Sack will get that one back here to go back up to 9-7. So continues to be some back and forth play here in set number 1, as Lane Sack will get through their entire service order quite quickly here. It'll be Catherine Hong serving for the second time tonight. And Olivia Crane just dives at the end there, can't get to go, and once again, it's that back left-hand corner where Lane Tech has just had struggled on the defensive side of things to guard it, and Champions still only up one here, 9-8 in set number one. Shallow serve there from Nia Hodges, and an excellent block at the front net there off the hands of number 10, Olivia Stolars. Looked like it might have been a combined block with one of her teammates there. Might be Sanchez, as this one sent it to net by Hodges. And still here early on, both these teams just struggling to create any momentum. I'm kind of surprised we have not seen any timeouts from either of these coaches. You'd think they'd want to settle things down, see if they can possibly get some momentum going, as this one misplayed off the reception there from Lorelli Correa. Lane Tech goes back up by 2. And we'll see how long it takes for one of these coaching staffs to call a timeout. Anderson sends this one strong across the net, but Washington able to recover. Back set, Copenhaver gets the kill there. Strong, unable to save it, was number 5, Natasha Padilla. And Lane Tech now up by 3. We talked about neither teams have been able to get some momentum, but Lane Tech with a couple of good points here off some nice serves from Anderson and some nice plays. And now an air off the hit from Stolars, and Lane Tech is going to see if they can get some momentum here, and that's going to force to call a timeout by Washington. So at the first timeout of this quarterfinal matchup, 13-9, Lane Tech with the lead over Washington. It's been back and forth through the first 22 points of play. However, we see Lane Tech taking the biggest lead of the night for either team. It's pretty much a 1 or 2 point or tie game for the first 20 points or so, but Lane Tech has taken control here the last couple of points. It's been some nice serving. They've also just been working some Washington airs, and we'll see if Lane Tech can continue that into the rest of the set. 12 points away from a first set victory. As we mentioned, both of these teams have not lost a set in the city playoffs yet. 4 sets played, 4 sets won for both Washington and Lane Tech. So we'll see how whichever team loses the first set, how they adjust to that here in the quarterfinals, as Claire Anderson serving from the right side sends this one nearly down the line. She had a service error earlier in this one, and some miscommunication there by Thompson and Anderson. They both stepped away from the ball. It gets the Patriots to the double-digit mark for the first time tonight, 13-10. And this one serves a little too far there off the hands of Stolars. If you're Washington right now, you're falling behind by a couple more points than usual. You really want to limit the errors like that. But they give Lane Tech back their serve quite quickly here. And now Copenhaver on her second service rotation of the day. She sets it up towards Ahmad. Ahmad finishes with the kill. At the net there, contending it, was number 11, Ureli Correa, and I think they're going to call a net violation there. So it looked for a second like Lane Tech was going to go up by 5 points here. Instead, they make it a 3-point game. Ahmad had a very nice finish there. Really couldn't tell if he was going to go with the soft point or finish with the hard kill. She goes for the kill, but the net violation brings the Patriots back within 3. Brooke Anderson with a rare air there in the front line. She usually plays that ball very close to the net, which means there's not much room for her to hit it into the net, but this one just goes a little too soft, and Washington back within 2 now. Crane on the reception, now trying to finish with the kill. A booming shot and unable to do anything with it. There was Padilla. That one just went screaming off the dig attempts, as Wild and Stoner will check back into the game. Stoner, one of the top servers on this team. Second on the team in aces with 36. Can't add one here, though. She does the back set. Anderson down the line, and this one a little too far. That's been a play Lane Tech has been very strong with this year. However, they did kind of switch it up there. A lot of the times it's been Anderson, when she goes to the side, playing it directly to the middle. Tried to go down the line there, but hits it a little too far to her right. And instead it will end up being a Washington point, as Layla Bather, the senior defensive specialist, sends a serve over the net. Wild softly punches that over, but Washington with a good response. Lane Tech having to dig out some big kills here, and Wild just unable to play that tip over the net. And just like that, Washington back within one. So we talked about, we weren't sure which of these sets, which of the sets from match one was going to be more closely resembled here. And it looks like much more like the second one, as Wild finishes with the luck of the net. That one dives away from Nia Hodges to put Lane Tech back up 2. And Olivia Crane will head back to serve. This one received by the libero Marquez. And Wild kind of misjudged that one off the hands of Gomez. It hit the net, and I think Wild was standing a little too far, a little closer than she wants to be. She was pointing up at her neck there. It landed just a little too far up her arms and redirects at a strange angle to keep Washington within 1 here, and they'll get back their service. 16-15, 31 points into this set number 1. Wild trying to redeem herself, can't finish with the kill. And Washington able to dig it back over. Anderson at the net, finishes with the kill. Olivia Stolar has got some nice hands on that one. You don't see a lot of Anderson's shots get blocked. However, it redirects out of bounds and ends up with the point for Lane Tech, as Sarah Thompson, the libero tonight, sends this one over with a clean serve. Anderson from the far side gets the second straight kill for Lane Tech. Looked like there was some contact there, as the ball did change angles a little bit, but the contact ended up helping Lane, I believe, because the receiver there for Washington just kind of misjudged that one. And Lane will go back up 3, 18-15 now. Hodges just palms it over softly. Stoner gives it to Wild, and Wild sends this one into net. So Lane Tech's sets tonight, trying to lead to kills, seem to be a little bit not as strong as usual. They just have not been placed as close to net as we've seen a lot, and that's led to a couple of errors here from Lane Tech, keeping Washington in this first set, as Stoner gives it to to Copenhaver, who finishes with the points. An excellent point there after Lane Tech played it to the outside. They changed it up a little bit. Copenhaver plays it from inside the logo to give Lane Tech back the 3-point lead. And now Catherine Hong in her third service rotation, as we'll see a timeout called here, called by Washington. So they go through both of their timeouts here in the first set, trailing 19-16 here to the champions, who are looking to advance to the city semifinals on Wednesday. Both the semifinals and the final being held at Little Village, so a ways away here from Lane Tech. About a 30, 40, 50-minute drive, I've heard, depending on the traffic. We did get confirmation the winner of this game is going to be at 6:15, so it's going to be the later of the two semifinals on Wednesday. I'm not sure what the championship time is going to be, but it will be the later semifinal for the winner of this game on Wednesday night. As quick timeout there. And now Hong will serve for the third time today. Lane hasn't gone 3 times through their service order in quite some time, especially not in these playoffs, as this one an ace off the hands of Hong. That is going to be her 51st ace of the year, extends her lead on the team. Max Krebs has her at the 15th mark in Class 4A for aces, and she'll add another one. Back-to-back aces here for Hong moves Lane Tech within 4 points of a first set victory. And this is just what Lane Tech needed as they try to pull away here, as this one goes a little too far. Tried to go with a soft serve and then a long serve, but this one just goes a little too long as Washington will pull within 4 here, 21-17. So Washington needs 4 to tie it. Lane Tech needs 4 to win it. We'll see which one of those can happen first. So they're going to send number 12, Laura Gomez, who's been a really important piece of this team, into the middle. But now the referees are going to call that back. So they were originally going to have Bianca Marquez check out of the game for Gomez. And it does look like the outside hitter, Jackie Taylor, who we mentioned was supposed to be in the starting lineup, came late to the game due to something, prior commitment. And looks like she just came onto the bench, and she will likely be playing in the second set, I'm guessing. So the Patriots get one of their top players back here late in set number 1. It's going to be number 5, Natasha Padilla, the senior defensive specialist, serving here. And this one played very close to the line. Thompson decides to play it. Ahmad finishes with the kill off the hands there of Marquise, and a very nice hit there from Ahmad. 88th kill of the year, and Lane Tech moves within 3 of a first set victory. 22-17. Crame, same position as Ahmad, can't finish this time. Nice job there from the Patriots to dig that one out. They're going to try the exact same thing, and this time blocked at the net, but ends up on the Patriots side of the net. Lane Tech lucks out there, gets the point. And just like that, 2 points away now for Lane Tech, and they're going to send Claire Anderson back to the line to serve and try to finish this one out in set number 1. Not going to get an ace here. Nice block there at the net by Copenhagen. Crane from the same position sends this one too far. And the Patriots will get their serve back as Maddie Gavaldon checks into the game for Anderson. Lane's been pretty active with the substitutions here in the first set. The original idea was for Lane to have a pretty different looking lineup in the second set. Not sure if that one's going to go. Gavaldon plays that one. Looked like it was flying out of bounds, but decides to keep the point going. And this time she saves one that was going to be in bounds. Crane goes with the soft tip and gets it. She had gone 2 straight kill attempts. Very strong from that last point. Wasn't able to finish from that last point on the court. Wasn't able to finish any of them. Goes with the soft touch there and is able to get the point. So Lane up 6, and they have their first first set point of the afternoon. Hong, back set. Ahmad sees an opening, can't finish with the touch. And this one flies too hard off the hands of Itzel Sanchez, and Lane Tech will take the first set here, 25-18. So not as dominating as their first set against Washington in match number 1 between these two squads. Lane won that one 25-14, but not as close as their 25-23 second set win for Lane Tech over Washington in the first match. So Lane Tech gets done what they need to get done. A 25-18 first set win. They'll look to close it out and book their ticket to the city semifinals in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Girls Volleyball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. To set number 2, we head here at Lane Gymnasium, a 25-18 first set win for the champions, who are going to look to close it out and clinch their spot in the city semifinals here in the second set against the Washington Patriots. It's going to be a slightly different looking lineup for Lane Tech here in set number 2. We'll take you through the lineup here quickly. In the front row, going from left to right, it'll be number 25, Amina Ahmad, on the left side. She stays in that same spot. In the middle, Brooke Anderson moves up from the back to the front here, and to her right is supposed to be number 3, Olivia Sprinkle. However, it looks like Sprinkle's going to remain out of the game, at least for the start here. In the back row should be number 5, Claire Anderson. In the back left-hand corner, Rocky Ortiz right behind her, and to her right, Maggie O'Brien. So one of those positions is going to change, as Lane Tech with a slightly different lineup, but they do make one change. Sarah Thompson will remain the libero here in set number 2. She waits to check into the game here. As you mentioned, number 8, Jackie Taylor for Washington, came late to the game, was not able to play the first set, but looks like she is up and ready to go here in the second set of play. Not sure if she's going to come in and play immediately or not. We will see. She was originally slated to be one of the starting outside hitters for this squad, and we'll see what she actually does here. So 20 seconds to go in the first set break. Lane struggled early in that first set. It was pretty close between these two squads. Washington did a good job of finding the open space, especially in that back left-hand corner. However, Lane Tech was able to adjust, close out those holes, and it ended up a 25-18 first set win for Lane Tech, as Thompson's going to check into the game for Ortiz. So it looks like it's going to be Crane, Thompson, and O'Brien in the back row, and Ahmad, Brooke Anderson, and Claire Anderson, both Andersons playing right next to each other in the set number 2. As Bianca Marquez, the libero, will check into the game for the Patriots. So Lane Tech 25 points away from a return berth to the city semifinals, where their city playoff run ended last year. We'll see if they can get back to that point here. Most likely a date with Whitney Young, the undefeated conference Dolphins, on Wednesday, as O'Brien gets an ace off the tape to start off this first set. She's been very impressive in this postseason. Had an excellent first game of the postseason against Steinmetz. Had 5 or 6 aces in that one, and she gets her first ace of the night here on the first point. Gets the lucky hit off the tape, as she will get a touch on this one and has to bump it over. 1-0 Lane Tech with the early lead. It was tight through the first 20 points or so in set number 1. We'll see if that trend continues here in the second set of play, as Thompson gets her first touch of the second set. Brooke Anderson finishes with her third kill of the... Oh, they're going to give that point to the Patriots. So there was a double block there for Washington. I think even Washington thought the point was for Lane Tech, because they rolled the ball over to the champion side of the court. However, they called a net violation there. Must have been against Anderson. And we will tie this one up here early in set number 1. So, lucky break there for Washington. Lane Tech was trying to go up early in this one by multiple points. They can't get it, and instead, it'll be first serve of the second set. It's a soft one to the right-hand side, but Anderson there for the reception, and Amina Ahmad spikes it down to finish the point, and Lane Tech goes up 2-1. Here in the city quarterfinals, one of 4 matches going on here in the public league tonight. Whitney Young, Von Steuben, Payton versus Taft, and Lindblom versus Jones in the other 3. As Anderson sends this one to Marquez in the middle, and this one might have gone into the net, might have deflected off of Anderson and Crane there, but either way, it will go for a Lane Tech point, 3-1. And Anderson will keep her rotation going. Lane Tech is going to have a slightly different looking serving order here in set number 2 as Crane plays this one softly. Jackie Taylor finishes with the kill off the double. She had her first 2 touches of the night on that point. And we'll see if Washington, who missed Taylor in that first set, Taylor can be the magic potion here for the Patriots in set number 2. She sends this one shallow. Thompson diving in for the reception, and that will be an ace. Maggie O'Brien unable to dig that one out. And we're all tied up here, 3-3, 6 points into set number 2. Head coach Hector Patino happy with that one for the Patriots, as Taylor will send this one a little too far, and Lane Tech will get their service back. So what we originally had, it should be O'Brien, then Claire Anderson, then it was originally going to be Brooke Anderson. It will be then Stoner, I believe Gavelden, and Sarah Thompson, your service order here for Lane Tech in set number 2. As Anderson sends this one too strong outside. And we'll give Washington back the point, ties this one up. And they will send Bianca Marquez, the junior defensive specialist / libero, back to serve. Of the 13 players on this Washington roster, 5 of them listed as defensive specialists. I think that's the biggest percent of players listed as that on any roster I've seen here this season, as this one played off the ceiling. Washington does a good job with it. Nice block there in the front row by Ortiz and Crane. Thompson keeps this point alive. Long rally here on the 9th point of set number 2. Whoever wins it takes the lead here in the set. Ahmad goes with the kill down the line. They say it's in. Amina Ahmad having herself quite the night and quite the set number 2. She gets her 2nd kill of the set. First she goes cross court, now she goes down the line both times, finds the court, and Lane Tech goes up 5-4. That gets the crowd nice and loud and excited here, as Addison Stoner will serve for Lane Tech. Marquez on the reception. She's had the most receptions tonight for the Patriots, as Olivia Sprinkle into the game sends this one on the soft touch into the net to keep this one tied at 5-5. So very similar start to set number 1 as we saw to set number 2. So if this finishes in a similar pattern, we'll have to see which of these teams can kind of take control in the next 10 or 15 points. Lane Tech took control in set number 1 and were able to roll to the 25-18 lead as Stoner plays this one. Claire Anderson right next to her was yelling at her not to play it. I think she thought it was going out. Stoner decides to play it. And Washington will take their first set here in set number 2. Excuse me, their first lead here in set number 2. This one, nice play off the net from Stoner. Almost an ace off the hands of Sanchez. And now Ortiz finds a very back corner. Cannot get more precise than that. That's nearly where the line going horizontal and vertical meets. And Lane Tech with an excellent point there to knock this one up. Olivia Crane will head back to serve. 6-6 here. This ball's been redirecting off the net a lot here from both of these squads, as the block goes for a point. Like main contact there came from Gomez for Washington, and Taylor will check into the game for Hodges here. So as we were saying, a lot of these balls from the Washington side of the court have been hitting off the net. They've led to some awkward angles for Lane Tech. See if that continues here. As trying to finish with the kill, she'll get it. Laura Gomez, who's played excellent as the middle, gives Washington one of their first multi-point leads of the match. They go up 8-6 here in set number 2. And Gomez will head back to serve, but this one goes a little too far. So that's been one of the big problems. Washington, on the serve there was actually number 11, Ureli Correa. But once again, that's been one of the problems tonight for Washington. Whenever it seems like they may have a little of momentum going in their direction, they just seem to make an error or two that immediately lets Lane Tech get back into the match. As Sarah Thompson will get the ace off the hands of Alexandra Marquez. And just like that, we're back tied at 8. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burston on the call here from Lane Gymnasium for some Chicago Public League quarterfinal action. Thompson goes with the soft serve here and gets her second straight ace. Some excellent serving here from Thompson puts Lane Tech back in the lead. They were down by 2 just a minute or so ago, but they battle back up 9-8 now. Can't get her third straight serve. Was a nice play though. As Stoner with the front set, Claire Anderson gets the points. Oh, once again, I think they're going to call net violation. It was blocked there by the Patriots. No arguing from Lane Tech this time. And now Laura Gomez will head back, the senior middle. Just as an opposite hitter and a middle hitter, but tonight playing in that middle role as Lane Tech will get the point back. So this is the point we said in set number 1. This is where Lane Tech really took control around the 10-9, 10-10 points. I think Lane Tech went up 13-9, so it was around the 9-9 point or so that Lane Tech was able to take control. We'll see if they can do that again here in set number 2. Maggie O'Brien goes down the line. Had a couple of aces in her first service rotation and dives there to keep this point going. Claire Anderson got lucky there. Jackie Taylor. And after Lane Tech had that nice shot by Ortiz to the back right corner, Taylor gets in on the fun. She sends this one to the back right opposite corner of the court and knocks this one up at 10-10. The captain, number 9, Crystal Lopez, serves this one over, and O'Brien with a little of a snake eyes tactic. We saw one of the Whitney Young setters do that a lot against Lane Tech. I believe it was Eva Chavez who was doing that. And it worked a couple times against Lane Tech. O'Brien decides to use it in this one and ends up with a quick point here. As this one, an excellent save there from O'Brien. Wow, I think all the Washington players thought they won the point there, but they will finish with it. Taylor goes cross court. And we're going to see substitution. Thought for a second there was going to be a timeout called. 11-11 here in set number 2. Exciting, tight match here between the champions and the Patriots. As Taylor will serve. Goes with the soft serve, and Galvin dives in to save it. Brooke Anderson, soft touch over the net, and finishes with the point. Ball had some very interesting spin to it. And Lane able to finish with the point. And Anderson will head back to serve. Had a service there, her first serve, and looks like another one here. Just a little too much power on that hit to knot it up at 12 apiece. So 24 points into this second set, and I could not tell you who's more likely to win this set. Very even play from both these squads, both on their strengths and their weaknesses, as reception error there from Anderson, but more so a very excellent serve off the hands of Bianca Marquez, who just put that in a very awkward position where Lane Tech was not guarding. And the Patriots will go back up here in set number 2, 13-12. O'Brien to Crane. Crane pushes this one over. And Lane will go back, tie it up again. Itzel Sanchez was able to get 2 hands on that, but pushed it out of bounds as Addison Stoner and Olivia Sprinkle will check into the game. So Lane going with a slightly different substitution and rotation plan as they originally had thought out by Norman Kwong, but seems to be working out pretty well here for Lane Tech. Stoner with the front set. Crane can't finish, but is able to keep this one alive by pushing it away. Sprinkle will have to bump it over. Lane Tech got lucky there. As Sprinkle unable to save this one. Nice hit cross court off the hands of Sanchez. And Washington sticking in this one. 14-13, they lead set number 2. Lane Tech with the 1-0 lead in the match over this Patriots team. Best of 3 winner advances to the city semifinals on Wednesday. Stoner to Crane. Crane with the soft touch, but nice adjustment there from Coria. Now she goes for it. Anderson from the back row able to play it, and Thompson bumps it over. So Lane Tech able to kill off that kill. Thompson. Anderson once again just controlling that back row perfectly here on this point. And point number 28 will just keep on playing. Thompson now. Anderson, will Crane keep it going? She will. Both the teams going back and forth here. Stoner gets it to Crane. Crane from the cross side. Nice block there at the net. Couple of players stumbling at it. Sprinkle gets the bump over and will keep on going. Longest point of the set, and this will go to the Patriots. Anderson, who was so impressive on that point, unable to finish it with the kill, and the Patriots will get some momentum as Lane Tech calls their first timeout of the night as they fall behind by multiple points for the second time this set, 15-13. So the first time we saw Washington go up by 2 was very early in the set, 3-1, 4-2, I want to say. But Lane was able to respond really good to it. They were able to very quickly go up by 1, actually. They scored, I think, 3 of the next 4 of the next 5 points, something like that, to get back into lead. So as Lane calls timeout here, very important to see how they adjust to this small deficit. So Washington 10 points away from forcing a set number 3. Lane Tech 12 points away from taking this match. We mentioned this earlier, but for those of you just joining us, the first matchup between these two squads was a very close second set. Lane Tech took it 25-23 on the road, but these two teams have shown they're very even. The first set, Lane Tech won by 7, but it was a close set, and even more close play here in set number 2. So it's going to be Sanchez serving here from the back right-hand side. She goes up the middle. Thompson from her knees gets the reception. Crane from the right side finishes with the kill. An excellent shot there from Crane. Found an open spot in the back row, and just like that, Lane Tech within 1, 15-14. Crane now going to serve from the back left-hand side. Got her step there interrupted there. Thought the referee was saying something. Turns out he wasn't, but still gets a clean serve. However, finishing with the point there, Lorelli Correa puts the Patriots back up by 2, and we'll have a couple of subs into the game for both of these squads. Crane checks out for Gavaldon, and we'll see Taylor and one of the other players, might have been Gomez there, check in for the Patriots, who are trying to go up 3 for the first time this set. Stoner gives it to Anderson. Anderson, nice block at the net, and finishing with the point there, Laura Gomez. And Washington up by 3 here, so we talked about it was going to be very important for Lane Tech to respond quickly out of that timeout. That has not happened thus far. They got 1 point, but a couple by the Patriots have made this a 3-point game. Thompson plays it back to Anderson, who bumps it over. That one played risky on the line, and punching over the point, Gomez again. I believe this is going to be the biggest lead of the day for Washington. They lead by 4, 18-14. Layla Bader serving right now for the Patriots. He sends this one up the middle. Stoner Ortiz. And lucky point there. Gavaldon able to keep this one alive. Looked for a second that Patriots were going to go up by 5. This is going to be big for Lane Sack if they can finish this one. Taylor, block at the net from Sprinkle and Ortiz, and they give it to Lane Sack. Net violation called there, looked like. And Lane will get back within 3. So Lane Sack was centimeters away from falling behind by 5 here in set number 2. Instead, they'll be down by 3, and Thompson, who has been very impressive serving in this set, will head back to score, and Lane Sack gets the point here. So quickly, Lane Sack scores 2, and just like that, they're within 2, 18-16 here in set number 2. And we're in for what looks to be an exciting finish here at Lane Gymnasium, set number 2. Girls Volleyball Chicago Public League action. Alex Burstein on the call here from above midcourt as Thompson sends this one down the line. And they're going to give the point to Lane Sack. They might have called a double there. The scoreboard has gone out quickly here at Lane Gymnasium, so they're going to have to fix that really quickly. When it comes back on, and we'll show Lane Sack within 1, 18-17 now. So after it looked like a second for that, Patriots might be running away with this second set. Lane Sack responds very well there within 1, 18-17. And I would not be surprised to see Washington call a timeout soon to try to break up this run for the champions. We'll see if they can tie it up off the serve here from Thompson. Sends this one to the back row. It was a late reaction there from Alexandra Marquez, and unable to finish there was Bader, who has a couple of late reactions from these Washington players, and Lane Sack will knot it up at 18 apiece. See if they can take back the lead. Thompson goes with the arching serve there. Gomez trying to finish with her 3rd kill in the recent time. She can't get it at play at the net. Now Taylor sends it to the middle. Thompson's there to receive it. Anderson again gets the point. A nice blocking attempt there in the front row with a couple. It was Gomez, and looks like next to her possibly Padilla there, but they can't finish with the point, and Lane Sack goes back up 19-18. A nice run here from Thompson comes to a close as this serve goes too far out of bounds, and we will knot it up at 19 here. Getting back to serve, number 12, Laura Gomez, who's been probably the top player this set for Washington. Sprinkle, season opening, but diving in there at the last minute. Bader keeps it alive, but Taylor plays this one a little low, and Lane Sack is 5 points away from a city semifinal berth. And we're going to see a timeout called here for the Patriots. So Lane Sack was trying to have a couple of subs into the game quickly there. It will do that instead in a second. So first, a 1-minute timeout, 20-19. Lane Sack with the lead. They will have the serve after this timeout. I believe it should be Maggie O'Brien back to serve. He was checking in. It's going to be a little longer timeout than usual because they had to reset the scoreboard. They accidentally set at 0-0, and they didn't move the 1-minute timer until the end. So Washington's going to get lucky here and have some extra time to talk things over with interim head coach Hector Patino, who, as we mentioned, is usually an assistant coach on this squad, subbing in right now for head coach Emily Johnson, who's on maternity leave, Patino told us. So it'll be Lane Sack serve as O'Brien and Ahmad check into the game. And looks like, yes, it will be O'Brien back to serve. So she started off this set with 2 aces, 3 points. Lane Sack could use that again. We'll see if she can do it. 2019 champions here in set number 2. A 1-0 lead in the match for Lane Sack. Taylor from the outside off the net. Anderson, who has just been everywhere on the court for Lane Sack here in set number 2. Now the other Anderson, Brooke Anderson, and they're going to give the point to Lane Sack. We're going to call a push there, it looks like, against Washington as they go up by 2. Some excellent play there by Claire Anderson and then Brooke Anderson at the end there as Lane moves within 4 points now of the win. O'Brien sends this one streaking across the air. Taylor again, this one pummeling to the back row. Gabaldon gets the dig, and Sarah Thompson just barely gets it over the net. Brooke Anderson uses her fist. Lane with some excellent movement here defensively. Ahmad luckily gets it across the net there. A game of inches here in the second set a couple of times for Lane Tech as this point keeps on going. Taylor to the middle, Claire Anderson plays it, just goes straight over the nets. And unable to finish there was Olivia Stolars. Not sure if she realized that was coming down on her side of the net, had a late jump there. And Lane moves up by 3, and they are 3 away from the win here in set number 2. O'Brien serving from the right side, her third serve. This one goes into the net. And Washington will reach the 20-point mark for the first time today. They'll send Itzel Sanchez, the right side player, into the game and get their serve back. So 2-point lead for Lane Tech. Washington needs 5 points to force a decisive set number 3. Lane Tech needs 3 to close this one out here. This one misplayed, a late dive there from Washington's number 3, Layla Bader. Lane Tech gets back their serve, and if Claire Anderson can get 2 points here, this is going to be a ball game. So this will be ball game, I should say. This will be over as Anderson sends this one to the libero, Marquez. Sanchez sends this one into the hands of Anderson and Ahmad, who send it straight down. And Lane Tech now 1 point away from another semifinal berth. It's where they fell last year to Jones, and they'll look to get to the city championship in the semis if they can get this point here. Anderson plays it to Taylor. Dives here to keep it alive, and a nice kill there from Stolars. And Washington will keep this one alive. So Lane Tech now on their second match point of the night. Taylor will be back to serve. We saw a service error from her earlier in this set. Sends us one far, and that is it. Lane Tech heading to the city semifinals, 25-18, 25-21 over this Chicago, Washington team. A very nice performance from Lane Tech. They had some challenges there from Washington, a resilient Patriots team. Competed in both set 1 and set number 2, but Lane Tech does a great job closing both of those sets, and they are headed to Little Village for the semifinals on Wednesday evening. That's going to be a 6:15 p.m. first serve against either Whitney Young or Von Steuben. Those teams were facing off tonight. We're not sure of our broadcast schedule for the rest of the city playoffs. Stay tuned for more information on that, but either way, Lane Tech with an excellent performance to move on to the city semis here. A couple of nice performances for the Patriots. Sanchez played very well. Correa, Taylor in the second set. And Gomez, as you mentioned, very impressive. But Lane Tech just some very nice athleticism. Claire Anderson made some crazy saves there in the second set. And Lane Tech gets their 19th win of the season. And most importantly, they're staying alive in the city playoffs, which will take place once again on Wednesday at Little Village. But that's just about all the time we have here on this Monday night. A very good victory for Lane Tech, 25-18, then 25-21 for a 2-set sweep over the Washington Patriots. Your final score here from Lane Gymnasium, Lane Tech 2, Chicago, Washington 0. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.